If you want transfer partner access in 2026, you're paying for it. The Chase Sapphire Preferred, 95 bucks. City Strata Premier, 95 bucks. That's the price of entry for almost any decent transferable partner access card. Now you could go with the free option, but there always seems to be a catch. The Venture one has a horrible earn rate at 1.25x as a catch-all. The City Strata isn't even 1-to-1. The Wells Fargo Autograph flips the script on all of that. It offers 3x earning on 6 different eligible categories, plus solid transfer partner access, all for a $0 annual fee. No messed up ratios, no weak earn rates. Now, the Points Guide just named this the no annual fee card of 2026. Today, we're breaking down this card to see if that really is true or if it's all hype. We'll take a look at what makes this card different, the transfer partners, who this card is a no-brainer for and who should skip it, plus an elite no annual fee setup that's perfect for anyone looking to take advantage of points and miles, but doesn't want to necessarily cough up money for annual fees. And if you want to figure out how the autograph, or any other credit cards for that matter, work for your individual spend, I built a free credit card ROI calculator as part of my rewards and returns guide. You plug in your monthly spend by category, and it tells you exactly which cards earn the most for you. Link is in the description, so grab it if you're interested. Now, if you enjoy credit card strategy and breakdowns like this, hit the like button and subscribe. All right, let's jump into things. But before we get into the card itself, I want to set the stage for why this card is different. Because the no annual fee credit card space is crowded, but it's crowded with the same two types of cards. You've got your standard flat rate cards like the Wells Fargo Active Cash or the Citi Double Cash. They'll give you a clean 2% on everything. Then you've got your category cards like the Citi Custom Cash. That gives you 5% on your top eligible category, but it caps it at 500 bucks a month. Then you got a card like the Chase Freedom Flex with that rotating 5% or 5x every quarter, higher ceiling but a much more narrow spend. Now, what almost none of these cards do is give you those elevated multipliers across multiple everyday categories and access to transfer partners, all without a premium card. The autograph does both, and that specifically is what makes it different and so attractive to so many people. Now, to be fair, the autograph isn't the only $0 card with transfer partner access, but it does hit arguably the best combination of earn rates and transfer partner quality at $0. And that's the sell really for this card. Okay, so now let's break down what the card actually gives you. So for $0, you're getting a Visa signature card, no foreign transaction fees, which already puts it ahead of 75% of no annual cards right out of the gate, in my opinion. It earns 3x on restaurants, travel, gas stations, transit, streaming, phone plans, and then it gives you 1x on everything else. No caps on those earning, no quarterly activation, no categories that change every 3 months. Most no annual fee cards give you 1 elevated category. This one gives you 6. Now, the sign-up bonus for this card is 20,000 points after spending $1,000 in the first 3 months. Now, this is worth about 200 bucks in cash back, or potentially more if you can use those transfer partners. Now, although this isn't a crazy amount, a 20% return on spend here is solid. You also get 0% intro APR for the first 12 months on eligible purchases, which is a solid perk if you have larger purchases coming up. Just make sure you're paying off your balance in full and reading the terms carefully here to make sure you're not getting caught. The cell phone protection is also a nice add here. $600 per claim, $25 deductible, up to 2 claims per year. You just have to make sure you're paying your phone bill with this card. It usually covers damage or theft. Now, as far as transfer partners go, I'm not going to sit here and say they're the best in the game. But if you know what you're doing, they can absolutely get the job done for both domestic and international trips. Now, at the time of this recording, their current transfer partners are Air France, British Airways, Aer Lingus, Virgin Atlantic, Avianca Life Miles, JetBlue, Iberia, and Choice. Now, JetBlue is the big one to talk about here. They just added this partner back in November of 2025, and this was a huge pickup in my opinion, because JetBlue gives you direct domestic flights all across the US, and for anyone living on the East Coast specifically, those New York to Florida routes are all over the place, so they're a great add. Now, I actually just flew down to Florida recently using JetBlue. Though I transferred from Chase's Ultimate Reward points, the idea is still the same here. My last redemption came in around 1.5 to 1.6 cents per point, which I think is decent for a domestic economy flight. So comparing that to Delta, where domestically you're usually looking at 1.2 cents per point on a good day, it's easy to see why this is quietly a sneaky good pickup, especially if you're an East Coast traveler. Now, JetBlue is great, but the part most people forget is even though JetBlue is the only domestic airline on this list, you can still book domestic flights through other partners using airline alliances. For example, British Airway Avios can book you American Airlines flights. You can also use Avianca Life Miles to book United flights through the Star Alliance. And Flying Blue can be used to book Delta flights on certain routes through SkyTeam. So really, you actually have a path to the big three domestic carriers. You just need to understand how transfer partners work. Now, one sneaky good advantage to the Wells Fargo program in general is there's no minimum transfer amount. You can transfer even 1 point. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, the worst is when you have a flight and you have to transfer, let's say, 44,200 points. And instead of transferring that exact amount, you're forced to transfer 43,000 points. So essentially, you're sidelining 800 points until the next time you're flying that airline program. Now, happening once or twice isn't that big of a deal, but if you're flying all the time, that could be thousands of points that you're just leaving on the sidelines for no good reason. Now, this is a small dub, but the big one is you don't need a premium card to access transfer partners. For example, with Chase, you either need a Sapphire Preferred or Ink Preferred at $95 a year, or Sapphire Reserve at $795 just to access transfer partners. With the Wells Fargo Autograph, you get transfer partner access on day one with this card, all for $0. That's a big deal. Now, is the transfer partner list perfect? No. Wells Fargo has 8 transfer partners, Chase has about 14 plus, Amex about 20 plus, and Capital One about 15 plus. You're missing major hotel programs like Hyatt, Marriott, and Hilton, and Wells Fargo has never offered transfer bonuses to date. Chase and Amex run those regularly. So the partner list is smaller, but the ones that exist are solid, and you're getting all of that for free. Now let's talk about what the card doesn't do well, because although I think this is a great card, there obviously are some shortcomings. Now the biggest for me is the gap on groceries. It offers 1x here. So if groceries are one of your top spending categories, which I'm assuming they are, you're going to need a supplement with a different card that earns at a higher multiplier here. Otherwise, you're just going to be getting 1x. It also doesn't offer purchase protection. This is actually removed from the card a few years back. Plus, no extended warranties, no trip cancellation or interruption insurance, and the cell phone protection is solid, but it's lower than, say, the Chase Freedom Flex, which gives you $800 per claim compared to the Autograph $600. Now, this card is definitely not for everyone. If you're a heavy grocery spender and that's your biggest category, then the 1X is a tough pill to swallow if this is your only card. Also, if you're already deep into Chase or Amex ecosystem with premium cards and stronger transfer partner access, this probably isn't going to move the needle for you. But I will say, this card is a no-brainer for some. If you want to be able to have access to transfer partners without having to pay an annual fee, this is the top option, straight up. Those 6 3X categories cover a huge chunk of everyday spending that other cards just can't compete to. Also, if you're new to points and miles and you want to learn how transfer partners work without having to commit to a $95 annual fee card or something higher, the Autograph is the perfect starting point for you. Now, this card is great on its own, but stacking it with 1 or 2 extra cards really covers all those weak points perfectly. Now, the first card I'd recommend pairing with it is the Wells Fargo Active Cash. For a $0 annual fee, you're getting a 2% catch-all card. Now, this covers you for anything the Autograph doesn't cover at an elevated category. Now, the great part about this is, like some of the other programs out there, since you have the Autograph card, that 2% catch-all doesn't stay as cashback. It becomes a 2x transferable point card instead. That's powerful. Now you've got 3x on 6 categories and 2x transferable on everything else, all for $0 annual fees across the board. And when you're ready to close that grocery gap, you've got 2 solid options out there. First is the Amex Blue Cash Everyday. That gives you 3% on US supermarkets, gas stations, and online retail. And if you're a Disney Plus or Hulu subscriber, you also get a credit for that. Or you could go with the Capital One Saver, which gives you unlimited, uncapped 3% on groceries, dining, entertainment, and streaming. Now, the entertainment category covers things like concerts, movie theaters, sporting events, and amusement parks. And you don't need all 3 of these cards on day one. Start with the Autograph, add the Active Cash when you're comfortable, and when you want to close that gap on groceries, grab 1 card that fits your lifestyle. 3 cards, $0 annual fee, and you're earning 2 to 3x on basically all your spend. Now, quick application tips here. You're going to want to have good credit if you're applying for this card. 670 minimum, 700 plus is ideal. And having a Wells Fargo checking account significantly improves your approval odds. Also, a heads up, data points suggest that Wells Fargo now has a 524 style rule, similar to Chase. They also have a 1 in 6 rule, meaning that you can get 1 Wells Fargo card every 6 months, plus a 48-month rule for sign-up bonus eligibility. So plan your applications accordingly. Now, if you want more Wells Fargo content, hit the like button and leave a comment below and let me know. I feel like these cards are not nearly talked about enough. So I'm planning on making a few different videos, potentially on the Attune cards, the full trifecta, and a transfer partner deep dive. So subscribe if you don't want to miss those. I appreciate you all. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.